Rockingham County School Board, notice of public hearing on an interim appointment to the school board. Interim meaning that we're filling the seat until it is filled by election. The election will be in November and the seat will begin January 1. The Rockingham County School Board will hold a public hearing on July 1st, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. at the Rockingham County Administration Center with the address for the purpose of receiving public comments on the interim appointment of a person to fill the vacancy representing the District 5 seat on the board and serve on the board until December 31st, 2023. The names of the current applicants for this seat on the board are Holly L. Cave, Paula E. Lam, and Brian Long he had originally submitted his documentation, but he has chosen to withdraw at this time. So he is no longer submitting his name for consideration. During public hearing, the board will receive the views of citizens within Rockingham County relative to the qualifications of persons who should be considered to fill the position and specific candidates. The board will also receive public comment on the potential interim appointment of any other resident and qualified voter of District 5 interested in filling this vacancy. So that last line means that if someone would like to bring forth a name tonight, we can hear it, and then we can hear public comment on it tonight, and then that person can be considered for the position as well.
My name is Steve Riddlebarger, and just real quickly, I'll say I was the first Human Resources Director for Rockingham County government. Spent a lot of hours in this room over the years until 2014, and I've retired. I began in HR in 1973, and this is relevant to my comments. During many years working with thousands of people and employees, I learned that it was easy to pick up and pick out individuals that showed leadership and skills and the ability to work with a diverse group of people. I'm here to support Paula Lam for the appointment to the school board for District 5. I have known Paula for over 8 years. She lives in Overbrook subdivision, and I live in Overbrook subdivision. When we moved to Overbrook in 2015, Paula extended a very warm welcome and has continued to do so since then. Mrs. Lam often organizes activities for families and the neighborhood for adults and for children. Matter of fact, there's a big basketball goal setting out in front of her house. She has a great personality. She is a dedicated person to any task she takes on. We see that in the neighborhood. Mrs. Lam has demonstrated the ability to work with people in many settings. I feel confident that Mrs. Lam will be an asset to the school board and to the students of Rockingham County. She will represent District 5 citizens in a positive and straightforward way. Thank you.
My name is Rebecca Culler. I live in McGackiesville, neighbors to Paula as well. I'm the mom of 2 school-age kids. I attended elementary, middle, and high school in Rockingham County, and do believe that Dr. Shiflett was a teacher at Wilbur Pence when I was there. That was not my speech either. I do wish to express my support for Paula Lam for appointment to the school board for the 5th District. I've known Paula for about 4 years now directly, moving into the neighborhood, and can also say that she was extremely welcoming into the neighborhood. I have a lot of respect for her in many ways, as a wife, as a mom, as a neighbor, as a local volunteer in our schools and in the faith community, as an employee of JMU, and mostly as a neighbor. Paula's created community long before the launch of her candidacy, and been very welcoming and inclusive to everyone. She regularly hosts neighborhood gatherings and is seen as loving and generous to those around her. Over the past few years, when many, as you all well know, locally and nationwide have been frustrated with the public school system and pulled their kids out or spoken very loudly and critically, Paula has leaned in generously. I follow Spotswood High School activities. I regularly see her supporting and volunteering at the school, supporting the teachers and students with her PTA involvement. She's a graduate of Spotswood High School, and I believe her son just graduated from there as well this year. She's strived to make positive and meaningful impact to our local community in a way that I find very admirable. And I think, honestly, if we had more people in the community like Paula, this community and this world would be a lot different place. So I just wanted to share my support for her. Thank you.
Good afternoon, school board. My name is David Burrell. I pastor the Church of Salzburg in Elkton. If you leave East Rockingham High School and see the big building there with the new building going up beside of it, that's us. I've lived here 3 years in this community. I've reached out to the high school, and we help with a lot of programs and different things. Any way that the church can get in the community and make ourselves known and be an asset, we try to do that. In doing that, we've met quite a few people being out in the community, which I think that's what God's called us to do. 27 years of pastoring this year is how long I've been in this. I've got one student as a senior this year in East Rockingham High School. My oldest daughter works in the school system inside of Yancey County, North Carolina. My youngest daughter is a middle school English teacher in Greene County. Tried my best to get her in Rockingham, but that didn't work out. But so my whole family has been involved in the school system one way, shape, or form. As my experience goes in life and pastoring churches, it's not always just the decision that needs to be made. It's the conversations behind the decisions that go into it. It's those backroom meetings like you had, discussing with one another, not only making your viewpoint put forth, but also sitting long enough and patiently enough to listen to what somebody else has to say to make sure that you've not missed something along the way. I know that I've got a biblical worldview, and some others in here may not have that. My view shaped and formed by the Word of God and by the Bible, and I'm not going to apologize for that. But I also know that, first of all, I am saved by God's marvelous grace. I'm a child of God. Secondly, I'm a citizen of the United States of America. I remember many years ago standing in Knoxville, Tennessee, taking my oath as I went into the United States Army, and I love this country. And I also know this country has freedoms involved. So that's the reason that although that I'm a child of the King, I also sat long enough to listen to the viewpoints of others. And in making the decisions this school board has to make, you have to do that. And you also have to have the patience, the higher thinking, and everything that goes along in that to accept what everybody else and work inside the parameters that you all have to work inside of. Because of this and because of the conversations that I've had with her over the past little while, I'm here tonight to put my support behind Miss Paula Lam, and I recommend her. Thank you.
Just a little background on myself. I was born and raised in Elkton, Virginia. Graduated from Elkton High School in 1968, and Madison College in 1972, where received an accounting degree. I've been in private practice since 1975, which is 48 years if my math's correct. Rockingham County Schools has played a very important part in my life, my wife's life, and my son's life that attended Spotswood High School in the early 90s. He played football at the high school and went on, got an appointment at the Air Force Academy and played football. So my family's always supported our school system until our grandchildren came on the scene. I would have loved for them to have been able to experience the same school system that we remember when we went through school. The educators such as Mr. Edward Long, James Mitchell, Lawrence Roller, Joe Taylor, and Eric Baylor, just to mention a few, have left an impact on my family. I was looking so forward to watch my grandson play football, baseball, and basketball at East Rock High School, as did my son at Spotswood. But after hearing and seeing what the school system had become, we had a change of heart, and we've homeschooled our 5 grandkids. which have done really well, with the oldest being a junior at Liberty University this year. I said all of that to say this. We're here tonight to fill a vacancy in District 5. I'm speaking on behalf of Paula Lam. I've known Paula for probably 15 plus years, more or less, and I do know the family that Paula married into because they've been my neighbors for 50 years. I've admired Paula at sporting events, the way she conducts herself in a much better way than I. I get excited. I like to win. Mr. Cross, I think you can attest to that. So I think Paula is a better choice for the seat because of her intellect and the fact that she has children that's been through the school system. One graduated, and I think there's still another one in the system. She hears firsthand the problems that the teachers and the students have on a daily basis from her kids. I think she has a better idea of what the school system could do to better itself and reach the goals that's set forth by Dr. Shiflett. And congratulations, Dr. Shiflett, on your appointment. I know you'll do a good job. I also think when approached with difficult questions, once on the board, she would be fair with the decisions that are to be made. This Thursday evening, I plan to have a meet and greet with Paula at my office at 6 p.m. in Elkton. Anyone is welcome to come that would be interested to find out more about Paula and her goals to better our school system. I do know that Paula is a down-to-earth, common-sense person that's willing to hear you out and concerns your visit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Megan.